Hello, welcome back. This is Morris Dimba, and let's continue with the part 11 of this gable side, adding more connection for this particular curved truss. Now, if you take a look, we've created all the end plate connection between the tie beams and the columns. Now, what we're going to create now is very simple: is the bracings, the vertical bracings on the gable side. So we have these in place. So we want to go just straight to start placing the vertical bracings. To access the tool, we come to scale and come to vertical bracings. So I'll click on that particular tool, then I'll just zoom closer and mouse here at the bottom end of this particular column. So whenever I snap on a red snap, you can see that means we are in the right intersection point. I'll snap on that spot and zoom out and target the midpoint of this particular tie beam here. Let me just mouse over here and snap on that spot and snap on that spot once again and mouse at the bottom end here until I see the red snapping point. I'll snap on that spot. So let me come back here and snap on this particular joint and move all the way to the center of this particular tie beam. Then snap on the same joint here. Then zoom out and target this particular joint here and snap on that spot. So if I zoom close, you can see the orientation of this particular vertical bracings are not in the right, in the right direction or in the right position. So I'll show you how we can modify or turn these to the right position. You can see our bracings are back to back or twin L-shaped or angle profile. So if I select on this particular member, press Ctrl Q, we'll be able to see this turns in the right direction, or it turns it to the right position. So if I select this member once again and press Ctrl Q, we can see we can change the positions or make it in the right position. That will allow our gusset plates or connection between the tie beam and the bracings quite easy. So if I select that member and press Ctrl Q, select that and press Ctrl Q, you can be able to see they are now in their best orientation. That will be able to allow our connection between the tie beam, this tie beam and the vertical bracing much easier. So the next thing I'm going to do, I want to create the connection. I want to create the gusset plate. But at the bottom end here, you can see we have a gusset plate for the column. We can always get rid of that. You can just select and delete that and come here and select and delete that because it will hinder the connection between this member, the column, and the bracing. So I'm going to apply the bolted gusset plate. I'm going to select on that, select on this member, and select on that member. Right click, and we can see our member or our gusset plate has been created, but it needs some slight modification. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just select on the gusset plate right there and press letter M and enter on my keyboard right there. So this will bring the setting dialog box for this particular gusset plate connection. So it's always advisable that once you create a suitable connection, always remember to save. So in this particular case, I have saved connections in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick the first one and click load and click apply. So I have my connection in place. So this has been created. You can see the connection in place. I can come here and create a similar connection. And let me try a different one, a different connection. If I select this member and type letter M and enter, I'll go back to my preset settings, preset a connection or gusset plate, and I want to apply a different one. I'll come to macros, pick on that, and pick bracing 1 or truss column connection that's not the best. I'll pick bracing 1. So if I load that, I'll come to apply, I'll be able to see I have that in place. Connection has been created. So I'm going to apply the same thing here. Select that, right click to effect that connection. So I want to modify further because you can see there's some protrusion or extension of this particular gusset plate beyond the base plate. So I select part of that connection press letter M and enter on my keyboard just to bring this setting dialog box for this particular bolted gusset plate, so that I'll be able to modify the extended part beyond the base plate. So to make that easier, of my preset settings here, so I'm going to apply bracing 1 and click load and click apply and give it an acceptance right there. And if I select my point of interest, then then press my right button on my keyboard and hold, and I'll be able to rotate this like that. So you can see that has been created, the connection has been created. So we'll go up here to create another connection between this tie beam and the two vertical braces. So I'll use the same tool, select that, and select that, right click to create a connection. You can always see I have gusset plate here that I don't want to use. I select that, any part of this particular connection, type letter M and enter on my keyboard here to bring that dialog box, so that I'll be able to customize this particular connection. I'll come to macro and pick a different one. So I'll pick a bracing. Let me just select bracing 1 and click load and click apply and give it an OK. I'll lose that extended or an unwanted gusset plate on this far end. So I'll apply the same thing here. I'll come here, connect that, and connect this. Right click, and I have connection here. So I want to modify this. Select on that, type letter M on your keyboard, and enter to bring the setting dialog box, and we'll pick the appropriate connection of gusset plate that will not be able to hinder the connection between the tie beam and the column here. So I'll come to macro presets. I'll click on that drop down arrow, and I'll pick 60 by 60 by 4 millimeter thick, and I'll click load, apply, and give it an OK. You can see there's no hindrance because this will be welded to this column, and this will be carried to sides already welded to this plate, this being welded to this plate. So there will be no hindrance between this gusset plate and this. So always take note to that when trying to create these particular connections. So let me pick my point of interest and right click and hold and turn that to a position that I'll be able to see it clearly. So I'll come back to bolted gusset plate and pick on that, select on that, and select on it, right click, and that has been created. So I select any part of that particular connection, type letter M and enter. So once I've pressed enter on my keyboard, I'll be able to get the setting dialog box for this bolted gusset plate connection, and just select the appropriate gusset plate connection. I'll click load, apply, and give it an OK. Let me just show you the setting here. Once I've loaded this, I'll come to figure, and these are my settings here. If I come to secondary 1, you can see secondary 2, you can see secondary 3, you can see. So let me just come to parts. So these are my configurations. You can always apply that. So let me just close that by clicking on OK, and you can see that there is no hindrance whatsoever between the end plate connection here and this gusset plate. So let's apply the same here. I'll come on top here, select that, select that, select that, and right click, and pick any part of that connection, type letter M and enter, and we can always modify this within the setting dialog box that will come right now. So if it doesn't appear, just click on empty screen, right click and interrupt, select once again, type letter M and enter. So this will bring it up so that we can modify our connection. Let's give it some time, and it appears here. I'll come to macro presets and pick the right connection here, load, and give it apply. Okay, so we have our connection in place. You can see that has been welded on top there, and that you can counter check whether this is an assembly. If I select this tie beam, right click and come to select an assembly, and show only selected, you can see we only have this as an assembly, that as an assembly, and this will be carried to side as it is. So we'll be bolted on the other side on the column, and this side on the column, and the bracings will be bolted at this within this gusset plate. So let me right click and come to show all, and that's how we can do that. So let me populate this along along the gable side. So first of all, always remember to save your work. So I'll come here and select that, and come here, and let me just turn that round and select that, and select that, select that, and select this, because we want to copy everything along, and select that. So if I come here, right click and come to copy, and if I pick on this and bring it here, somehow my system might lag, but we'll just give it some time. So if I place it right there, you'll be able to see that has been copied. So let me just place another one there and place another one here. So any part colliding with any part of our member, will have just to delete that. So let me go on and copy those members along here. So let me just go ahead and place another one here. Let me just mouse over there and place another one there, right there, and mouse and come here and mouse over there and snap another one there, and come here and place another one right here. Mouse right there, and we've placed our bracings there, right there. So we can always delete any part that will collide with any part of our member. So let me just select on that and turn this and delete that. Always remember to delete any part that will be hindering the existence, or will be blocking the placement of any member here. So we'll have to delete this. Delete that, delete that, and delete that. So delete any part that will be able to affect this. So if I select any part of interest here, and you can see we have our bracings on this particular end. So the simpler way, we can also always select the gable side and mirror on the other end, so that we have a similar connection on the other end. So let's meet then on another presentation, where I'll be showing you how we can create the GA drawing, assembly drawing from this particular structure. So let's meet then. This is Maurice Dimba, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and let's meet then. Bye bye.